For those of you that don't know, my next guest is the co-founder of Storz and Bickel, Mr. Jürgen Bickel, the man, the myth, the legend. Storz and Bickel makes my favorite desktop vaporizers, the Volcano, as many of you have seen it in pretty much every video I make. Um, they do also make some really cool portable ones that I bring to almost all the other functions I go to. But right off the bat, Mr. Bickel, would you be able to kind of talk to us about your educational background and motives? I would, and would you possibly say that having a formal education is kind of like a necessity or not when it comes to the type of work you do?
Yeah, obviously. So yes, hello, Slicks. Yeah, and thanks for having me today to this interview. Of course, I'm happy to answer all the questions and of course give a little bit insights to myself and Storz and Bickel. So of course, I myself now I'm in the industry since 2001. Now 23 years now. I'm working in the field of innovative application of cannabinoids. So my initial background, I first, when I was 16, I learned, I became a carpenter. You know, you have here these technical exercises here for 3 years to get a job like that. So I have made these wooden roofs here, the typical wooden roofs from the Black Forest here in Germany. And afterwards, I studied civil engineering and I spent several years in Peru. We had a development aid project from the German government, and we helped to improve drinking water systems in different cities and try to implement wastewater treatment systems. So this is where, let's say, where I'm coming from, and yeah, is it necessary to have a formal education? I mean, I would say every education you do, you learn something, you know, and maybe sometimes it's not directly to relate it what you do later on, but of course it helps. But necessary, no. I mean, if you have great ideas without a formal education, I think it's not necessary, but I would say it's really helpful.
Were there any things you've learned while working down with the wastewater treatment systems in Peru that you brought to Storz and Bickel?
Oh, of course, I learned Spanish quite well. Yeah, you learn, of course, intercultural management and in management of people, and in the cultural context, it's of course different. There you learn that, of course, not everybody reacts in the same way. I have the same ideas that you have, you know. And if you have intercultural teams, you have on the one side sometimes a few difficulties to manage them. On the other side, you have the benefits. The people bring in new ideas. So of course, it makes it. You gives you an international background. You also saw in Peru a lot of people who are living in difficult circumstances. You know, you also see that not everybody in this world have the same opportunities, the same chances like me may have in our circumstances, like you, like myself in Europe, in the US. It can be a hard life if you're born in this environment. Yeah, so of course there you really learn a lot, and you grow with your personality also in these contexts, and so yeah, it was definitely a great experience, and I would say until today I'm benefiting from this experience, and I'm benefiting also from becoming a carpenter. You know, all these things you have in your background, you have learned, and you can use it. Maybe it's more in your gut feeling or in your unintentional things, you know, that you really think, oh, this was where I really benefit from this or that. So, but it makes your personality, and it helps you in all your doing and decision making and your risk analyzing and so on. Yeah.
I got you. I have to ask, has cannabis always been a passion of yours, or was Storz and Bickel kind of an opportunity to get into a new industry or just a way to help out Marcus with what he was doing at that time?
No, of course, I learned cannabis earlier in my life before Marcus, or let's say Marcus starts were a long-term friend, and let's say we joined a little bit experience with cannabis before. Yeah, and how it came that I came together with Marcus. Marcus was the initial founder of then called a company called VaporMed. Yeah, it was at the very beginning, and I was one of the first clients. Yeah, in 2000, Marcus brought out the first series of the Volcano in November, and in December I came back from Peru here to at home to have holidays here, And I liked the idea from the very beginning. At that time, I had quitted smoking nicotine, traditional smoking tobacco. So I quitted that. And of course, if you don't use tobacco, and then you need to find a application form, and I bought a Volcano. I bought two Volcanos actually at the time, so I was one of the first clients. And yeah, and then I get to know the benefits of it, and then when I came back later, then Marcus and I became together because I had already the experience of the Volcano. First, I just helped him out with a few things because I had time, and then we came together, and then we founded Storz Bickel with the equal partnership.
Awesome. Would you be able to name some of the challenges that you and Marcus faced when you first started out and how you overcame each one? Like, for example, like, was it hard to find funding? Was like the process of learning international exporting really difficult? Did you have any pushback from the local community due to the market you were in? And was it difficult to just find decent employees?
Yeah, of course, there was a lot of challenges at the beginning. Of course, one main challenge is liquidity. Obviously, this is an issue we had about, I would say, almost all the time. You never have, if you don't have outside investors and you want to grow your business out of your cash flow, then liquidity becomes extremely important. It's your main KPI. Above everything else, it is liquidity. So during several years, I do really recall every morning the first thing was look to the bank account and see if there's enough money to pay employees, to pay bills, and so on. So liquidity management is really extremely important, and especially if you grow. Growth always needs funding. Some of the funds must come from to buy more parts, to have more employees, and so on. So this was extremely important, but we managed it all the times to stay independent, as equal partners, not having anybody else within the company. Of course, it has at sometimes maybe limited the growth a little bit, because you don't have money to grow maybe faster. But for us, it was more important to stay independent and maybe grow a little bit slower than to grow fast. So this is one main challenge you have. The other challenge at the time was, of course, nobody knew vaporization. Nobody. It was really absolutely new. So it was a lot of education and promotion what we had to do. So we went to every trade show we could, and everywhere we explained how the volcano works, how vaporization works, what is decarboxylation, and we tried that as many people as possible could try a volcano, because you can explain a lot in theory, but once you have a balloon from the volcano, you inhale and you get the effect. There's nothing more convincing than that. And of course, at that time, at the early 2000, of course, our main competitor we saw in a giant, in a pre-roll. This was what you have to beat. This is what people knew. And he said, okay, you must be better than that.
Mhm.
So I think we overcome that. Yeah, with really convincing people by let them trying out our devices. And of course, finding employees, of course, at the beginning of 2000, stigmatization of cannabis was, of course, much more profound than it is today. A lot of people were really against in your own private environment. It was not really well seen, well done. A lot of people have maybe would not like to work for us because of this topic, so finding employees was really difficult. And also, of course, you don't like that your private environment doesn't like what you do and think you do something illegal, and everybody asks, oh, is this really legal what you are doing? And yeah, the device is legal, no problem. Yeah, so this were a few of the challenges we had. And of course, also product development. Yeah, the Volcano was the first step, create product until today, but then you need also to grow and have then like Volcano Digit, like other valve systems and all these things. You must find constant new ideas, what you really, and really benefiting ideas who really are convincing your customers. So this was also a challenge. So yeah, and so you could go on and on, but I would say these are one of the most important ones.
I feel you. Pivoting off of all of that, then, would you mind going over some of the things that set your vaporizers apart from the competition? I know you've said before it's about quality over quantity, but like what exactly does that mean? Are you using better parts, higher quality materials, better thought out designs?
Yeah, I would say almost everything is different than with our competition, you know. Of course, it's the quality, but it's also, let's say, the design but the base of everything is the functionality. Like I said before, at the beginning, we didn't saw, let's say, another vaporizer as the competitor because there was no one, so you had to beat maybe this joint. But over time, there came other vaporizers up on the market. But what exactly and functionality why our devices are working so well is of course temperature control. You know, if you look to our mobile devices like the Venti or like the Mighty and Crafty, you know, you have a very small, we have a very small, tiny heating element, and you need to heat up your from ambient temperature to 180 degrees, you know, 360 degrees Fahrenheit, you know, and this in 2-3 centimeters or in 1 inch, you know, it must go up to this temperature, and then you need to maintain this temperature very exactly, independent how much the airflow is, how much somebody is really inhaling, you know. If your temperature is not accurate, you know, then you go on one point above the desired temperature, then it gets too harsh, and on the other point you are below the desired temperature, then vaporization doesn't take place. So the exact temperature control is the key of our devices. Always the heating element is the key. And then once the vaporization has taken place and you have this vapor with 360 degrees Fahrenheit, then also in a very small period, you need a period of centimeters of inches, you need to cool it down again. Because in the moment you inhale, you want to be down like 50, 60 degrees Celsius, you know, to have really a decent cool vapor, you know, and nothing hot and harsh. So this is really the centerpiece, I would say. Also, every new product development starts with the heating, with the heat element. You know, this is what you first need to do, and then you build everything around. And of course, what also we have done all the time, we didn't look too much at the beginning how it looks like or how much it will cost. It needs to really work very well. It needs to convince us as clients. You know, Marcus Storz and myself as first clients, we wanted to really be convinced by the quality. And then you, of course, try to make it as small as possible, and you try to make it not too expensive or unnecessarily expensive. But this we already had in mind, and this was really a clear way to go. You know, and then it was form follows function, and this is why also devices have a very unique design today. But yeah, I guess the functionality, like you said at the beginning, yeah, it's very convincing. Most people who are really trying our vaporizers have sometimes they have tried a lot of other vaporizers, so we are mostly not the first ones, the first vaporizer they try out, but maybe the last one.
So you'd say you kind of focused on the quality and the materials and the function before you really focused on like cutting cost and trying to find a way to make it more affordable. Are there
Exactly.
yeah, are there any tips that you'd give to anyone like my age or younger that might want to follow in your footsteps when it comes to like sourcing those parts and developing relationships with the manufacturers that would help you with all that? Or are you guys like making everything in-house?
No, of course, we have a lot of suppliers. Of course, we are here located in Tuttlingen, south of Germany. This town is known for medical device manufacturing. You know, so
Mm.
our environment, we have a lot of suppliers who really provide very good quality parts. Yeah, and of course, at the beginning, if you look to a vaporizer, if you would like to produce all this by yourself, all what is drilling of metals, you know, what is injecting plastics, what is electronics. So all this, it's almost impossible to do it under one roof by yourself. So you
Mm.
necessarily have to use suppliers. What we always have done and are doing today, we design everything by ourselves. We design how it exactly works. We make all the testing. We do all the fine work until we have a satisfactory result, and then we are sourcing everything. Sourcing is also not so easy. It depends also on the quantity, and then you need a good technical equipment, good drawings, exact tolerances, a good quality control when parts are coming in. Yeah, that's all is very important. And then you need your assembly in-house, final testing in-house, Yeah, what also is very important to really maintain a high quality in every single device you produce, because you have to have in mind serial production means that if you do any error, if you build in anything what is wrong, you repeat it tens thousands of times. This is why it is so hard to do serial production and really maintain the high quality all the time.
I got you. What was it like working with Marcus Storz and just having that partnership? Did you ever have any difficulties coming to agreements, and how did you go about settling those?
I mean, Marcus Stotz and myself, we were very successful in our cooperation. Yeah, we were really very successful, but it was not, let's say, always easy, because we are two different personalities. But this is, I would say, this is a benefit. It doesn't make your life necessarily easy, but if you have always the same opinion, then you could say, hey, one person is not necessary, because it's always the same opinion. So it's very good to have two different opinions, two different approaches, two different point of views, and then you need to exchange, and sometimes, yeah, even, let's say, fight for the better argument. You need to convince, and we were always like 50-50. So you must come to agreement. There was no one could say, no, this is the final point. No, you really must find a compromise, or you must find or agree on the best way forward. And I think this was a big benefit of SMB, to have these two point of views coming to an agreement. At the end of the day, we both were, let's say, reasonable and rational, and okay, hey, and now we must come to and we must decide, of course, liquidity management. If you don't have money, where you're going to invest, where it's going to be. Is it a 3D printer? Is it some promotion materials? What are you going to do? So there was a lot of compromises we need to do over the time, and a lot of decisions. But I think with all differences Marcus and I had, with every important topic, we came really to the same conclusion, the same opinion, and took the decisions together.
It's all about compromise. I see. In 2018, you guys were acquired by Canopy Growth. What was the process like of selling your company? Did you have any concerns about how you've navigated protecting your business's interest? And how did you go about that?
Yeah, of course, we were approached at early 18 by Canopy, and they asked if we would be willing to talk about selling the company. And of course, we were ready at the time. Yeah, Marcus, he's like 10 years older than myself. He was ready to retire. I said, okay, I have done this for more than 20 years, and it's a good moment to enjoy life and not keep working all day long. Yeah, this was a starting point. And of course, the first thing is, of course, you must agree on a price. Yeah, this is the first difficult thing. Of course, you want a lot, and the other want to pay not too much. So, but yeah, we agreed fastly on that. And then there is coming a let's say, a difficult process to really agree what you are selling, and to what you are guaranteeing the buyer. What all is working. Is there anything from the past what you need to assure? And this is a long due diligence process. With a lot of companies who are specialized for that. And on our side, I was more or less by myself. I answered all the questions, I provided all the documents, and as we were a good organized company, we could prove everything. Things like you have your trademarks ready, your patents are well protected, and things like that. So all this was good, but it was a long, hard process. So it's 6 months by exchanging documents, and then you have really a very, very big contract. And as somebody who is selling it, of course, what you don't want that somebody comes back and said, hey, I paid too much because this and this was not true what you told me. And so you really must have their good guarantees that it is reasonable for both sides. So it was really a long process, but yeah, finally at the beginning of December 2018, we agreed on a several hundred-page document, that you then have to sign from the notary. And but yeah, it worked well out. And as you can see, I'm still here, almost 6 years later. I'm still managing. So it seems that both sides have made something correct. They have still the trust in myself, and I still trust also Canopy. So it was a good cooperation, and of course, we are looking forward to more successful years under the roof of Canopy.
Some people have brought up some concerns about the quality of the vaporizers after the acquisition. Do you have anything to say about that? Has anything changed in the quality of the products you've produced since?
No, no, obviously not. And I can say, of course, it would be easy for me to say, okay, Canopy has done something, but no, it is still SMB's responsibility. We have the quality, we have to provide it. We are doing this in Germany. Of course, we have a close cooperation with our headquarter, but it's not that headquarters says, hey, please use here some cheap parts or anything like that. Yeah, that you as a company, you always must be profitable. If you're not, a non-profitable company does not survive very long. So this is clear, and of course that you have to look after this, but this we had to look beforehand also. So now we have still a great independence. Yeah, we still can take the decision, and I can still take a lot of decisions, or would say almost most, or everything important and product related decisions anyway I can do by myself. That is all good. And so I would say the quality of our products has remained the same. There is no, you have always sometimes a few difficulties. Of course, you always try to provide the highest quality possible, but yeah, in every process humans are involved, and there can happen something, but we always have also good support and technical support to our clients. If everything comes up, we are still here, like always, like we were before. So overall, I would say no. The quality has not coming down, first of all, and second, now
Mhm.
Canopy has not taken anything what I would say a negative influence towards SMB. The contrary is correct. It has really also improved in a lot of aspects of our business under Canopy, under having new aspects, new views from North America, from Canada, from Canopy. So it also has helped in a lot of areas SMB.
Was it important for you to retain like a decent amount of control after you sold to Canopy?
No, no, this was not my intention. My intention was to retire soon. And then somehow there came the one circumstances to the other, and yeah, and so I'm still here. Of course, I enjoy working, and I know what to do here. Yeah, and I know how to develop this company further, and of course, SMB. Is now almost triple the size than it was when it was acquired. So I think it was also for Canopy a successful acquisition. So, and yeah, I'm still here, and so I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I plan to keep doing it for some more time.
Awesome. So with all of that in mind, what would you do differently if you had to start over in 2024?
I mean, it's the question is a little bit. If you look today, the times are so different. I
Mhm.
mean, one challenge maybe we forgot at the beginning. At the beginning, in the early 2000s, there was almost no internet available. There were the first small websites. And all that. There was an online shop. This was not known, more or less. Or very difficult from IT perspective. So it's a little bit difficult to compare. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, Today because your environment, your circumstances, the whole world has changed a lot the last 20 years. So if I look back to our decisions, I think I would nothing make different. But if you start over today, if you start a new business today, of course, then you must consider, of course, a lot of things, and you must really find a way. If you want to do vaporizers today, yeah, you must find really unique selling propositions with whom you can convince your customers to buy your device.
Well, to wrap it up then, would you mind sharing with us what Storz and Bickel has in store for the future, if you can? Is there anything new you're developing that you're willing to share, or any new tech you're willing to work on? Anything new with any new markets?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the center of SMB keeps being product development, yeah, and
Mhm.
product improvement. Of course, we have worked a lot on the Venti over the last year. We released it last October, and so we have worked a lot to really to improve it to the standard where we are today. So the Venti today, I would say, is really a great great device. We are working also a little bit to update the firmware, update the web app, bring in new functionality, things like that. This will come soon. Yeah, so to have improved 20. And of course, we are also working on new products. Yeah, that's obviously a little bit more difficult to talk about. Yeah, but of course, we are working on it, and we will release also new products in the future. And yeah, but details we are not, let's say, as far as we really could share details. I think what SMB has is known for and will be known for also in the future. We always try to find really solutions who are not there at the moment. When the volcano came up, there was nothing like vaporization available. When our Mighty and Crafty came up, it was the first real mobile devices with the web app, with tons of new features who were not available there. And this is what we are looking for in the future as well, to find ways we don't try to copy something. There's a lot of things out there who has other approaches, and they find that this is on the market. But we really want always go on our own way, and we'll find our own innovations. And this is what I'm also here working on day to day with our development team, to try to find what is the next new thing, and where we hope that we are really very confident that we can surprise the market again.
Awesome. Just a little question off of that then. Are you guys open to any suggestions? Like, what if a young entrepreneur had an idea for an invention and they wanted to work with you? Would you be open to that?
Of course, we always are open to hear ideas. The problem a little bit is if you have an idea and the idea is not patented, it's a little bit difficult if you share your idea. For us, it's also to hear maybe we already had the idea and it's not new to us. So if you look back to Marcus in '98, we have still a nice poster here where Marcus was searching for investors, for the volcano, and nobody came up. So the only way to realize it was to do it by himself at that time. So maybe if you really have a good idea and if you're really convinced, then you need to look how you can bring it to the market, and how you can do it by yourself, and how you can find somebody who is producing the device for you. But yeah, it's not easy, it's not easy. This is the first thing that you have to be in mind. It's not easy. It needs a lot of consistency, a good idea, and then really to bring in practice, and of course tons of work to be really successful there. So yeah, but of course we are happy to hear any new ideas somebody has and wants to share with us.
Awesome. Well, that wraps it up. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Jürgen. Thank you so much for making time. Do you have anything that you'd want to say before we go to the audience?
Oh yeah, of course. I to the audience, I want to say that we keep providing great products. We are happy that, of course, to find new customers for our products. Yeah, we still stay really way behind our products. We are here to serve our customers. And we are really doing our best, and we are really reaching it to have a great product offering. And I can say that you can always trust in SMB, and you can always trust in myself for this new great products.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yo, 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 it's your boy Jacob. I'm just cutting in at the end here to update everyone on the Storz and Bickel Volcano giveaway that I hosted many months ago. I've been swamped with all the things I do in my personal and business life, and I just haven't gotten around to updating everyone. The giveaway was simple. I even recorded myself drawing names live, just never uploaded it. Unfortunately, the first few winners didn't follow every instruction to a T. You had to have followed all of the accounts that Storz and Bickel and myself have on social media that we listed. And the one guy that did it all won the prize. He wasn't the only one. He was just the first one in the line of people I drew that did everything. So yeah, it was done correctly. It was efficient. It was fun. And stay tuned because we will do more giveaways in the future. Just comment below. Tell me what things you want, what brands I should work with. I've got relationships with many big names in the canna industry. So I'd love to pair you up with some of your favorite goodies. Thanks for watching. Peace.